Hey, what's up, everybody? Glenn Wilson with Movement Mortgage. Welcome into today's episode. I'm excited to bring this episode to you. This is our first episode that we recorded, and this is with my very good friend, my pastor, the lead pastor at Church of the Highlands Montgomery campus, Pastor Chris Erwin. We sit down today and we talk about family, we talk about serving others, we spend some time talking about leadership, and we have some good laughs along the way. So I think you're going to enjoy today's episode. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, grab your favorite beverage, and I think you're going to enjoy this. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got some great guests that are going to be coming up over the summer that I think you're going to enjoy hearing from. But for now, take a listen and enjoy the time I had with Pastor Chris. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Excited to be here today with I call him Chris, but many of you know him as Pastor Chris Erwin, or most know him as PCE, our campus pastor here at the Montgomery campus of Highlands. And man, thank you for carving some time out.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
I have too, man. I'm excited. We got all this cool equipment stuff that JP, my production manager.
You got a great production manager.
I do.
One of the best.
We're excited to put this stuff to use and excited to have. You're going to be our first official guest.
What an honor.
We don't have a name for the show yet. We're going to figure that out too.
I'm going to tell you, there's pressure now. I mean, just being the first one, it's got to be good. So
it's got to be.
We'll do our best.
It'll be good. Maybe later we can brainstorm a name for this thing. So we're excited. So would love to start out with our session today. You and I talked a little bit before we started recording. What I want to do with this podcast and my heart for it is, one, our community, this Montgomery, Central Alabama, really want to pull in leaders, business owners, folks from across our area to hear their story and also promote their business, but really more of that first point, to hear their story. So I'd love for you to, a lot of people that are watching this today know you, familiar with you, maybe folks that go to Highlands, but I would love to hear your story of how you ended up at Highlands and really how you became campus pastor here.
Man, well, let me just say, I love our story because we can look back through the years and literally see, we don't have time to really dive into all the details of it, but it's a beautiful story of how we can look back and see where God was ordering steps and decisions and relationships. And that's how it happened for us. So in 2005, we were part of a little church here in Montgomery, little church plant. We'd been there probably, maybe 2.5, 3 years. Been in ministry my whole life. And so being a part of church work and church ministry was nothing new. But we did feel like, okay, this may be going a direction that we don't know if we're ready to go, or willing to go, or equipped to go. So we felt like it was time to transition out. And then I have a very good friend in Birmingham who had been attending this church, they were meeting in Mountain Brook High School. He tried to get me to come for the longest. I said, man, I can't. We're a part of a church. I'm obligated on a Sunday. I can't do it. Well, when that ended, we said, hey, his name's Terry. And I said, hey, Terry, we're coming to Birmingham. We drove up and went to Mountain Brook High School. It was quite the experience. This was 2006, January of 06. And we just knew, man. I mean, we walked in and experienced something we had never experienced before. All the years of being in church and on staff at a church, we just saw and felt something very, very different. And we knew then that this was going to be our home. So we drove to Birmingham every Sunday the whole year of 06. Yeah. Now, what's crazy about that is Rachel was pregnant, it felt like, for 2 years. It was a rough pregnancy, but she was pregnant that entire year. But we still did it. And got to know a lot of people there and built some really good relationships. And so did the 3-hour round trip drive every Sunday, almost the whole year. And then our oldest was born in 2007, January. And we didn't feel safe traveling with a newborn. So we got connected to a church here in our area in Prattville. Fell in love with it, fell in love with the vision, the pastor, the leaders, and said, hey, we're going to invest here. So we spent another 2 years there in Prattville, and then just kind of had those same feelings. Wait, we feel like we know where we belong. We belong at Highlands. Yeah. So we started praying, okay, God, you open the door. We were both in the business world, Rachel and I, just surviving, but we were thriving too. It was a fun season for us. And we were kind of serving part-time at this church in Prattville. And really out of nowhere, miraculously, I think, one of our executive pastors reached out to me. He said, hey, I'd love to have lunch with you. And we knew that this could be the open door to get reconnected to Highlands. And this was about '08. And long story short, we did get reconnected. Jumped into a program that we now call Highlands College Evening. It was the very first class. I was in the pilot program of the evening college that we now have. And it worked. I felt like I got more connected. I grew in leadership. We really saw something that we liked. We saw spiritual results. We saw life-giving relationships. We saw a genuine passion for the Lord. And we thought, okay, these are our people.
Yeah.
And so we went through this program for one semester. The second semester, I said, okay, we feel like we're supposed to bring this to our city. Still driving to Birmingham every week, other campuses in Auburn, Tuscaloosa. And I met with Pastor Chris, our senior pastor. And I said, I'd love to bring this to Montgomery. And he said, well, we want to be in Montgomery. And he said, start a small group. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I thought you was going to give me a blank check and let me go get a building and, let's start this thing off, the fast way. But no, we started a small group, and it was amazing to see this one small group, which eventually turned into 22 small groups that were meeting all over Montgomery before we even had a campus. And we knew it was the right time, it was the right place, it was the right thing, and God was moving. We saw life change, and people were getting saved in small groups. It was unbelievable. And so I went to the 22 small groups and said, hey, we're going to launch a campus. Who wants to be on the launch team? And 120 people said, hey, count us in.
Wow.
So we took that 120 people, and they were rocking babies, parking cars, passing buckets, playing guitars, pushing buttons. They were helping us do it all, pour coffee, everything. And we did it. We launched in August of 2010. And had 1,000 people on the first Sunday, and which was great. We celebrated that, but about 6 weeks later, we grew the wrong direction, and we dropped down to about 385 people, and still just blown away that many people were coming. But then started the journey of growing and building and pouring into people, doing life with people, and here we are 12 years later, and we were portable for about almost 7 years in downtown Montgomery.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. Was the launch at the Impact, or was the Impact later?
No, we launched at the Impact, and it was the most, it was the nicest portable situation you could have as a campus. I mean, we were in the Impact, the Performing Arts Center, was probably a $5 million building, and we were having church in it. And it was amazing and beautiful location in the heart of Montgomery, very historical part of Montgomery, which we felt like God strategically put us there to reclaim some things in our city. We know Montgomery's known for a lot of things, good, bad, and ugly. And we just felt like God put us right there in the heart of where a lot of that happened to help maybe change the narrative a little bit. And get God right back in the middle of all of that. And so, man, we had a great run there in downtown Montgomery. And then 2017, we built this building. We're in the cafe of our building right now, and have loved it. We've loved every minute of it. So the long, beautiful story, made very simple and short, is we founded in 2006. We found Highlands. It changed our life. Yeah. I remember crying, Rachel and I crying every service for the first few weeks. We were being healed. God was doing something in us. He was reestablishing some calling, some vision, some passion, some anointing, some purpose, and we were being literally transformed every week. We just wept. We just cried in all the services, and it changed us, and we knew that if we could get it to our city, the experience, that connection with God in a life-giving environment where people's lives were being changed, that our friends, our family, a lot of people we knew, their life would be changed too. And so here we are 12 years later, and have loved every minute of it.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things about Kim and I's Highlands journey that I love. We had a story similar to that. We were originally from Montgomery, moved to Huntsville, job relocation to Huntsville, came back to Montgomery looking for a church. First time we walked into the Impact, we knew immediately this is where we need to be.
Yeah.
We could not get to the growth track quick enough from that first service that we went to. And the thing that we really love about Highlands now, outside of you and Pastor Chris, is where we sit right now. This beautiful, amazing building that we sit in right now. 2017 is when this was complete, right? May of 2016, Kim and I bought a house that is
That's right.
a driver, 4-iron pitch and wedge away from where we sit right now.
Yeah.
So it takes us all of 30 seconds to get to church.
I'm still waiting for you and the whole family to show up in a golf cart. We talked about that.
We have.
We were building the building. I said, bro, you need to ride a golf cart to church.
We have. And my youngest son, Jake, is still pushing hard for that golf cart, too.
Right.
We got to find us one.
Yeah.
Incredible story. And thankful that you followed God's calling to come here, because, what Kim and I and our family have been a part of is incredible.
Yeah.
And there's thousands of families across the Tri-County area and really across our state, now even expanding into Georgia, have had that same experience. So,
well, I think what we've enjoyed is setting the pace and maybe even a little bit of the standard in how we launch campuses. We were the 5th Highlands campus to launch, and now there's 23. So we used a model that we now use pretty much in every campus launch, is small groups, build the culture, build the relationships, then the campus comes. And it was cool to kind of be on the front end of a lot of that, being the 5th campus, and able now to help a lot of other campuses and other churches. So then it's been an honor for us too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I told you before we came on that today I've got 3 things that I want to touch on with you. When I started thinking about putting this podcast, video, blog, whatever you want to call it, that we're doing, immediately I knew that I wanted you to be the first person that we talked with. And as I started preparing for today, I started thinking about what are the things that I think about when I think of PCE. You and I have become great friends. You're a year older than I am. We both went to Robert E. Lee, but the school was so big, we didn't know each other. I've had to remind JP, the Trinity, where they go to school at, had 63 folks graduate last week. We had over 700 that graduated. So sometimes we're like, y'all didn't know each other? Like, no, the school was so big. A lot of times you didn't know folks, but we met through Highlands.
And neither of us were this cool back then, too.
That's very true.
We're way cooler now than we were.
Very true. I agree. And my production assistant, John Parker, can vouch for that too, right? But 3 things, there's a lot of things that come to mind when I think about you. As Kim and I and John Parker and Jake have gotten close to your family. There's a lot of things I think about, but 3 things that I think about specifically when I think about you. One, I think about family. You've got an incredible family. I've had the honor of having Leighton in some of my small groups, and Liam has a couple of times asked me to put somebody. We talked about a video game small group, I think, one time with Liam. But Rachel and Kim have become great friends, and your family's incredible. And you're a great dad, great husband. You have led marriage small groups here in the church. You're passionate about family. So I think about family. I think about service and serving others. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then leadership. You've been an incredible leader for this campus and for the church as well. So I want to hit on those 3 things first. But again, knowing that a lot of folks on here probably already know you, a little bit about you, but maybe not a lot. I said, maybe it'd be great for PCE to give us a little insight into what's the Erwin family like. Tell us a little bit about you and Rachel and the boys.
Oh man, I don't know if it is as exciting as maybe you're hoping it will be. We love chilling at the house. Like we do a lot of that. I feel like our world involves a lot of interacting with people, and we just as a family look forward to being at home. And of course we never get tired of people. We love being around people, but we love that sacred place of home. And we've created a place that we love to go to and be at, and that's home. We just love being a family there together. I thank you for saying that too. That means a lot. I don't know if there's a higher compliment. Like I would much rather be a great husband and dad before I'm a great pastor or a great leader. Because we know what the Bible says. If you can't manage your home, you can't manage the body of Christ. But even if you put that aside, if the ones closest to you don't love you the most, then it really, I don't know if it matters about all the others that love you or appreciate you. And we really do try to work hard to protect our family. Rachel and I, we didn't grow up probably in the best situation of family, so we didn't really have an idea of what we knew what we didn't want when we had a family. When we didn't have a family, we were planning for a family. We knew what we did not want. We just didn't know how to get what we did want. And so we just started studying people that we admired, friends and even church leaders and families, and just studied how they did family. And I was talking to somebody the other day about just the whole thing about discipline, because I was heavily disciplined growing up. My dad is old Marine Corps.
About to ask military?
Yeah, Marine Corps. And so it probably wasn't the best, but it got my attention.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do that differently. And of course we discipline. I mean, you could ask Leighton and Liam, they know what discipline is. All right. So, but here's the what we had missing growing up, I think, was the hug after the discipline.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. So it was discipline, and then that was it. And then it just kind of left things in a weird place. But I think with our boys, we've wanted to discipline. We've never spared the rod because we don't want spoiled children. But we're going to hug it out. We'll always hug it out. And I think that's just how we've tried to define our family. We have Erwin values, and they're kind of very similar to what we do as a church. But growing up, we've always told the boys almost every day of their life, be a leader, do your best, care for others, and have fun. And they heard that on the way to school. They heard that every time they walked out of the house. Be a leader today. Don't be a follower. Be a leader. Do your very best. We're not going to do anything halfway. Do it your best. And then care for others. It just can't always be about us. And then have fun. We're going to laugh. We work hard. We play hard. And Rachel, she has just our boys are who they are, I think, because of Rachel. She has taught them how to love and care and serve. I think I've taught them how to love the church. She has taught them how to love people. And so we're very, very blessed. It's certainly not perfect. We've had some bad days, and bad seasons. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure I want to make sure our boys are getting the best of us, that Rachel's getting the best of me, and that takes work.
Yeah,
it's hard work to do that. So thank you for saying what you say, but it's hard work sometimes.
Well, I can tell you, you talk about the family values. One of the things that Kim and I, going back to talking about when we joined church and going through the growth track, I remember you talking about those values that your family had set, and speaking that into them. Be a leader, and so Kim and I came away and said we ought to do that in our home too, and we kind of settled on. And really, it was more Kim was the one that settled on this, and it's become a motto for our family, and it's love God and love others. Yeah. And Kim, every day on the carpool with those boys, that's the last thing they hear when they get out of the car, and then I've had the honor of coaching my boys and everything they played, and one of the things I peeled from you in there was I've got 3 core values every time. It's play hard, have fun, honor God. Yeah, winning's not in there. None of that stuff. It's more of play hard is give your best. Right. Have fun. Playing sports should always be fun. If it's not, we don't need to play. And then honor God. And I think we can honor God in the way that we play, the way that we interact with our opponents, officials, parents, all those things. And I can tell you that came directly from hearing your heart on that during the growth track. So thanks for how you lead your family. Now, you talked about Rachel. She's a lucky lady, right? How 20 years, right? Yeah, 20 years married, 27 years together. Wow. So we were. That goes back, middle school? Almost. Now, it sounds creepy, when you say it that way. But we were she came to church, my home church. A friend brought her, and she was just real cool growing up. I mean, Rachel was cool. She was funny. She was hilarious. She made me laugh more than anybody else. And so she got a little older. I got a little older, and we were best friends for 2 years. We did everything together. Matter of fact, really crazy story is I was dating this girl who lived in Pensacola, and her sister and brother-in-law were my youth pastors. So she'd come up and visit, and I just fell in love, just first love. And we were dating a little bit, this long distance thing. And every now and then I would drive down to Pensacola and spend time with her and her family.
And one day we were talking, and we both said, wouldn't it be cool if Rachel came down with me and spent the day with both of us?
Oh, man.
And she said, I love that idea, because she loved Rachel too. So Rachel drives down with me to Pensacola to spend the day with my girlfriend.
There we go.
Now, that's weird. That is not normal. But that's how much we love Rachel.
Yeah.
And didn't work out with the girl, the Pensacola girl. And just a little while after that, I thought, man, Rachel is good looking. And I was like, no. Well, I can't go there. But then one thing led to another. We realized, okay, maybe more than friends. We dated. We had a very healthy dating relationship, and then so we were best friends for 2 years, dated for 5 years, married for 20, and so we've been together
awesome.
a long time.
So one thing that I thought about too, preparing for this and thinking about your family, is that I guess last summer or maybe summer before, it was brought to my attention the high level of anxiety that placing orders in drive-thrus that you and I share there. Yeah. And so Rachel and Kim have put together some montages of video recordings of you and I placing orders at drive-thrus.
I've seen yours. I lose it. I almost lose my faith, my calling, all that in the drive-thru. It's like Chick-fil-A. It's chicken. And we've been in the drive-thru waiting, probably about 10 minutes. I mean, we should know what we want to eat by now.
That's right.
And we just can't get it out of them, can we? We can't get them to just make their mind up and make.
Or the whole, what do you want for dinner tonight? And that starts. I'm sure you guys don't have that issue in your house, right? But ours is not only figuring out what it is, but where we're going, and but
it's a little crazy.
Well, maybe we'll post those in some of our footage that our wives have.
Hey, that would be raw footage. That would be raw.
We may have to charge for that.
Yeah.
So let's shift to you teed it up well with Rachel and talking about her heart for others.
Yeah.
You and Rachel, your family, really embody the core value of the church of serving. It's incredible watching you guys lead our church above and beyond what our church calls for with serving others. Mm-hmm. I think about we have our Saturday serves. We've got Serve Day coming up here soon. What you and your team have been doing in our schools. This past really since COVID. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about you and your family's heart for serving, and then I would just love to hear for you to tell everyone some of what you guys have been doing, you and your team have been doing here lately around serving.
Yeah, and I have to credit Rachel for that. She has always had the heart to serve. I think my heart was more to lead and strategize, and how can we get the biggest bang for the buck, and build teams and leaders and develop. She has been just the heart behind serving and helping. Matter of fact, before we even had the campus, we had small groups that would go, and she led these, where we'd go into downtown Montgomery and feed homeless people, sandwiches and snacks, and we called it the Forgotten, the Forgotten small groups, and where we didn't want people to feel forgotten. So we went to where they were, and Rachel led all of that, and that was the beginning of establishing this campus. Our whole church is this way, but we were establishing this new campus as a church that was going to serve others. And it started there, and she was the driving force behind that. And even with our boys, I mean, she has taught them how to care for others and love people. And so that was the beginning of that. So we knew that we had to, if we're going to reach people in our city that we're from, we know this is our city. We're from here. We knew we were going to have to get in and serve the least of these. And we just and our campus was downtown Montgomery. We had so many people walk to church.
Yeah.
In downtown Montgomery, and we wanted to help people, and that has just been the character of the campus, and I think it's because of where we're located, the city that we're in. There's a lot of need in our city, and we've built teams and leaders to support that, and now there's a passion to serve, and like you said, I think we have people on our team that like Travis, who leads our outreach efforts, and Rachel's on that team, and I get to come into a meeting and say, hey, here's who I feel like we need to help. I think teachers right now are getting the bad end of the deal.
Yeah.
and they're struggling and they feel forgotten, and let's help teachers. And then we have this team, Travis and others, Rachel, who now we get to brainstorm what do teachers need right now? Where are they hurting the most? What can we do? And like you said, we thought, man, let's go into their world, into the teachers' lounge.
Yeah.
I always mess with the teachers because I remember. Don't you remember the teachers' lounges growing up? It was like this secret bat cave.
That's right.
Like they would go in and you never knew what was going on in the teachers' lounge. It was like so dark and creepy. And as I got older, you get to go. I went in one time. Well, this isn't so creepy after all. It's just bland.
Right.
No coffee makers, no refrigerators. So I thought, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to just overhaul these teachers' lounges. So we were taking in Keurig coffee machines, brand new, refrigerators, microwaves, snacks. We were taking in 300 to 400 K-cups, coffee cups, creamer, cookies, snacks, everything they would need. And we would fill the refrigerator up with drinks. It's amazing. We'd go into these schools and they would have to pay for their own drinks out of Coke machines.
Wow.
And we thought, you know what? We're going to bless them. We're going to fill these refrigerators up with waters and Cokes and just goodies, just to say, we love you, God loves you, and we haven't forgotten you. And it's been huge, I think, especially through the pandemic. But that's just one example. I think at the end of the day, what we want, Glenn, is we want to be able to do what we do on Sunday. We want to take it out into the community. Yeah. We want to be known for who we are between Sundays. We want to be known by that. We don't want to be known just for who we are on Sunday. And a lot of great things happen on Sunday, and we love Sundays. But we really want to be known for what's happening between Sundays. So let's get equipped. Let's get filled up. Let's get our tank full, and then we go, and we are doing things. We're pouring into people, helping people. Serve Day coming up. First Saturday serves, feeding people, helping people, just serving the community. And I'm just thankful. I'm just so thankful that that's what our church is known for at every location, but specifically very much so the Montgomery campus.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of that.
I've noticed before that just being out, if I'm wearing my serve shirt, it's amazing how many folks will come up and say, oh, you're that church that gave the hot dogs away.
Yes.
Or you're the church that, my cousin went there for Christmas and got the presents and that type of stuff. And you're exactly right. Just taking that part of church outside these walls. Yeah. And I think that's an extension of the phrase of a lot of times you and I may be the only Bible that some people read.
Right.
That red serve shirt and the way that we served outside, maybe that's along those same lines, the only Bible that some people read. And
it's just good seed in the ground too.
Yeah.
We believe that, and Scripture says it's the kindness of the Lord that draws people to repentance. So, if we could show the kindness of the Lord, and not everyone gets saved, but people do get saved.
That's right.
And if anything, it's a seed being planted that someone else will come along and water that seed and fertilize that seed, and then God gives the increase. And who knows? It could have all started with a donut or a Chick-fil-A biscuit, or or a K-cup that was taken to a teacher's lounge. We believe those seeds grow into salvation.
Yeah. Well, that's a good transition, talking about planting seeds.
Yeah.
To the third thing.
Okay.
And I know you're really passionate about leadership.
Yeah.
That one of the first things I noticed as I got plugged in with the church and started serving, was watching how you lead this campus. And you have done an incredible job of leading this campus. You really have. Even the development of a lot of folks, when Kim and I first came here, it's incredible to watch some folks, you referenced Travis earlier, to see how God has developed him into the leader that he's become in the church, but the influence that you've had on him. And there's hundreds and hundreds of other stories like that inside the church. I think about, John Maxwell, his name is synonymous with leadership a lot of times. And our company has the privilege of a partnership with John Maxwell. And a couple of things with leadership, PC, that I wanted to ask you about is, one, who is your go-to for leadership? And how do you invest in yourself to continue to build, because leadership is one of those things that I feel you never really get to the point and say, okay, I'm there, right? It's one of those things we build on. So what is your go-to, and how do you invest in yourself for leadership?
Well, we are very, very blessed. Pastor Chris has built a church organization that having go-to people they're always available. And I probably have 2 or 3 pastors that I go to that that help me process thoughts, that I'm trying to figure out, or decisions I'm trying to make, or people I'm trying to lead. I'll have 2 or 3 that I go to. I have 3 groups of people, actually. So that's pastors and leaders who are helping me process how to be a better leader. And then I've got these brothers in my life who are helping me process emotions and thoughts.
Yeah.
And then I've got friends who I'm watching and learning from. And I feel like I don't know if there's a group of people that are my go-to people.
Yeah.
And I think it all depends on what I'm trying to figure out or process or change or grow in. That then determines who I go to. And I think personally, Pastor Chris has taught us that, we're self-feeders. Even Scripture says that. Even in the one-year Bible, we're reading right now Psalms 119, and how David, every verse in Psalm 119 talks about God's law and instructions and rules and promises and His Word, and how he just studied God's Word and became better. And so personally, man, every day I'm in God's Word. The one-year Bible is my go-to in the morning. I have a routine in the morning. I've got a few people that I follow, blogs and newsletters and podcasts that I'm listening to and watching. And again, I think I love situational development.
Yeah.
So in other words, when there's a situation, there's a problem or a challenge or something that we're trying to conquer or accomplish, well, that's a situation. I'm learning through all of that. That's how I lead my team. We do situational development. So we'll look at a situation that happened maybe the previous Sunday, something that could have been a little bit better. Well, now we're going to learn. We're going to dissect that thing. So now we're not just getting better in that particular thing, but now that one situation is helping us grow and mature and become better in other areas. So we're gonna dig deep into that situation. Sometimes it feels like we're beating a dead horse, but we're going to get better because that happened.
Yeah.
And it's not problems necessarily all the time. It wasn't a failure, but hey, this actually went good. Let's dissect it. Let's learn it. That was a good situation. So now let's get better from it. And so I love situational development, and there's no shortage of situations that you can learn from.
Yeah.
So I have a group of people that I go to, but I'm always daily, and personal growth has to be daily growth. For me at least, if I skip a day or skip 2 days, and then, I feel like I still have a high emotional metabolism, which means if I'm not feeding myself the right thing, then I'm losing in an area. So I feel like that I'm burning emotional energy that I have to replenish that with good, healthy relationships, healthy growth tracks in my own head and mind and heart, and good routines. I'm a routine guy. I'm addicted to routine.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to rhythms. I love good rhythms. So all those things are helping me grow daily. And then, of course, the people that I have in my life to help me not do stupid stuff.
Well, it's funny you said that, because I wanted to ask you about one of those.
Yeah.
So another story another video for another time. Probably 8-9 years ago, I guess, you and I got invited to go on a deep sea fishing trip.
That's right.
It was my tiger shark.
That's right.
A tiger shark that I call it.
That's the video. Yeah, that's the video we need to watch.
Speaking of outtakes, right?
Yeah.
So it was a group of us from here that went on a fishing trip together. And one of the guys that went was Terry Tyndall.
Yeah.
And had the honor and pleasure of meeting Terry. And on the way back, hearing your story of the relationship that you and Terry have. And I love it, because I think that relationship is so critical in today's world, especially with us as men. Us as men, we tend to struggle with accountability.
Right.
We tend to not like to be called out. We tend to want to keep to ourselves and not share our struggles.
Yeah.
Because we deal with that ego that's inside of us. But it's critical, because the enemy wants us to hold that stuff inside, right? And having a guy like Terry in your life, you call him your big brother. I'll let you tell that story. Yeah. But talk a little bit about Terry. Talk a little bit about your relationship with him and why you think those type of relationships are so critical.
Man, they are critical, because I think we're all going to walk through something that that I am not the best person to listen to. In other words, there are moments where the last person I need to listen to right now is myself, because I'm not in my right head, my right thinking, I'm not in the right heart. And that's when you need a big brother. And I call him Big Brother. I don't know if we can tell the whole story, but I'm little brother and he's big brother. And he called me one time, and we have a great history together. I mean, the story, we've known each other for 20 plus years. We were on staff together at a church. He moved to Birmingham. I moved to Enterprise, and then, paths go different directions. And his 19-year-old son passed away tragically because of cancer in 2005, and I did the funeral. And since that moment moving forward, I became little brother, and he was big brother. And it's a very, very special relationship. And he is a go-to. I'm his go-to. He's my go-to. I've always said it this way. I have Terry, but I have another great relationship in my life is Pastor Marcus Wright, who is in Birmingham. And I've always compared the two. So Terry is my big brother. So when I go to Terry, and Terry wants better for me. Mm. So in other words, I've gone to my big brother and said, hey, man, this guy's getting on my nerves. Help me process that. And he said, well, Terry will say something like, well, let's go slash his tires. Let's go do something. I'm like, no, and of course he's messing around. No, we can't do it. He wants better for me. Yeah. But then I go to Pastor Marcus, and he's different. He wants me to be better. Yeah. So I think you need both. You need a homeboy that says, hey, ride or die. That's right. What do you want to do? Let's go do it. Let's do it right now. And just knowing you got somebody in your corner. But you also need the other guy to say, hey, but you gotta process this the right way. Yeah. God wants to make you better in this. And so I have both of those. But Terry is just you got to have friends like this in your life, and Rachel, by the way, is so thankful for Terry. Like even now, if I say, hey, I'm gonna go hang with Terry, and she's like, go, because I come back better, and it makes marriage better. Yeah. Because you said something really important, that the enemy wants you to keep all these things on the inside. I heard a guy say it this way, that anything you keep in darkness, the devil controls it. Yeah. Because he has authority in darkness. He's the prince of darkness. So anything we keep in darkness, he has authority to use against us, to control us with. What releases his authority or gets rid of that authority is all you got to do is bring it in the light. He has no authority in the light, only in darkness. And a lot of times Terry is my guy that I go to bring stuff in the light. That, it's not a therapy session, but it's a text. Yep. Hey, man, I'm not thinking the right thoughts today. Man, just pray for me. Or I need to hang with you, man. I got to get some things off my chest. That pressure release valve, Because the longer we keep it in darkness, the more the devil can control. Amen. And the friend, my friend, is the one who helps me get that stuff in the light. And now the devil doesn't control it. Yeah. I can conquer it when it's in the light. That's awesome. Yeah. Find you a Terry. Find you a homeboy. Oh, you got to have a homeboy. Find you a ride or die, right? That's right. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. So I know your time is valuable, and our production manager told us we're getting up against the clock. For your next appointment that you've got to go to. Oh, we're good. Yeah. We're going to end these every time with 10 questions. We're going to have some fun here. Okay. 10 questions. All right. Nervous. And they get a little bit more interesting as we go. So we're going to start out easy, okay? Okay. First one, favorite vacation spot. We talked a little bit about travel before we came on today. Favorite vacation spot? I would say it's been Disney World. Yeah. Yeah, we love Disney. We raised our boys pretty much at Disney, and of course it's a little different now, but it's been Disney for a number of years. We got on that bandwagon for a while too. We spent a little bit of money at Disney. Yeah, I love the bubble because you go into a bubble. You're a kid again. It's you're make believe world, and Disney for years was the place that we would go to that I felt like I could really unplug. Yeah. From like the real world. That's right. And just be a kid again. Be a kid. Yeah, we've loved it. Here's one. Give me one misconception that folks tend to have about pastors. Man, That's a good one. Years ago, I would have said years ago, everybody thought that pastors just played golf all the time. I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think people believe that. I think sometimes there's a misconception of that that they forget people on purpose. I could just think about the times maybe that I've been personally hurt. Maybe is when someone feels like that I purposely didn't say hello, or purposely didn't greet, or purposely didn't call or visit, or as if, you wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to hurt this person, this person, and this person. And I'm not that person. I don't think pastors, some, there's, unfortunately, it's a weird world right now, but I think that would be the one misconception.
Yeah.
To think that I would purposely do anything like that.
Sure.
And a lot of times it's just oversight. It's out of sight, out of mind, which I have no problem apologizing for. But I think that's a good, deep question there.
Yeah, but especially here with the growth that we've seen, not only at our church but at our campus, that's understandable. But I would say too that what I think is also really neat is how you and your team have pivoted to make sure that we have teams that are built out to do our very best to make sure that we don't miss that life event that needs someone or needs to be recognized.
Absolutely. And I think I don't know if I wish it, but I think it would probably shock some people to see how hard we work, that I think pastors work at trying not to forget or trying not to overlook. There's a lot of hard work. At the end of a Sunday, I think I'm exhausted because of that.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to say hello, hug, high five, shake hands with as many people as possible, because you never want to get to the end of the day and someone feel like you did that on purpose. You overlooked them on purpose. So,
well, I know your heart.
Great question.
I know your heart. I can speak to that one for sure.
Yeah.
What's the number one thing that you do that annoys Rachel? Top thing.
Yeah, I think it would be I chew on straws. And when I'm through with a straw, I do throw them away. But sometimes I'll lay the chewed up straw down on the sink, or the counter, because I'm going back to it.
Yeah.
I just love chewing on straws, and she hates it.
Oh boy. This one I know some folks want to know.
Okay.
Who is PCE's hairstylist? PCE's got good hair.
Oh, gosh. I've been going to the same guy, I don't know, probably 5-6 years. His name's James. And shout out to James. Barnum, Chop Shop, Tardy Barber. Let me tell you, I met James. I don't even know how. I can't remember. Somebody may have recommended him. And I walk in, and the guy's tatted up head to toe, face tattoos, neck tattoos, every tattooed up. And I thought, man, this is intimidating. But I've heard he can give a great fade.
Yeah.
So let me try it out. And then over the years, he and I have become very close friends. I am his pastor. I've walked him through some very difficult moments in life, and I get a fresh fade every Friday. So I get a haircut every week, and it's I just like a fresh weekend fade. But a lot of times it's just spending time with him.
Yeah.
And so James is my guy.
Shout out James.
Shout out James.
Cool shop. He's got a really cool shop.
Oh yeah.
Favorite pair of sneakers? You and I are both sneaker guys.
Yes.
Jake is a sneakerhead, so he helps keep my sneaker game on point too.
This might get me in trouble. This might get me in trouble. I don't know if I know you guys like Jordans. I don't know if I've ever been able to make some J's look good on me. I've always you're gonna get me in trouble. I've always liked shoes out of Italy. I mean, I'm a shoe snob. So, but I am a good shopper. I don't buy anything retail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on sale, heavily discounted. But I think some designers, you're going to get me in trouble, man.
Just Italian.
Yeah, Italian. Yeah, Alexander McQueen's got some cool shoes. Yeah.
Jake has always admired your shoe game. You got good shoe game.
Man, I love
He's
a
admired your shoe
good
game.
pair of shoes. Yeah, I have more shoes than Rachel, I think.
Group chat or group me?
Group me.
You prefer group me?
Yeah, group chat is sometimes if you got that droid in the group,
It's
like
happen.
you're trapped. It's
That
like
can't happen.
prison. It's like handcuffs. It's like there's so much. You know what it feels like to me? This is a little bit of my personality. I feel like I'm being controlled. I can't get out of it.
Yeah.
You can't leave the conversation.
That's right.
So I do. And the surprise group text chats that you get drug into.
Yep.
Like, who are these people? I don't know these people.
That's right.
And so, yeah.
And you can't get out of it.
Yeah, you can't get out of it. Group me, I feel like I have a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a control freak when it comes to,
I'm with you.
digital communication.
I'm with you 100%. Go-to cereal on Saturday mornings.
I don't do a lot of cereal, but when I do, it's probably Frosted Mini Wheats.
I like Frosted Mini. They think I'm weird because I like Frosted Mini Wheats. I love Frosted Mini Wheats.
And honestly, though, it's rare that I do. I don't want all that sugar because but sometimes I do.
Yeah.
And if I do go Frosted Mini Wheats, it's probably 3 bowls. So it's 2 bowls.
So you're gonna do it right.
Yeah, it's 2 bowls, same milk.
Yeah.
3rd bowl, add milk.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is it because the milk is getting warm?
No, it's getting low.
Okay.
It's
I got
getting
you.
low.
All right.
Yeah,
I can roll with that. Best WWE wrestler of all time.
Well, yeah. What's funny is one of my best friends growing up, his dad was a professional wrestler. His dad was Johnny Wildfire Rich. I don't know if you remember Johnny Rich.
I do.
Tommy Rich was his uncle, so they wrestled in this WCW back in the day. So he'd bring all these wrestlers over to his house. It was so cool seeing them. He'd have these wrestling rings in his backyard. We would go to the wrestling matches. I don't know. I think back then, Hulk Hogan, was just the man. But I think I liked the guy. I like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I like the Raw guy. Yeah, throwing it in the air. Yeah, I like Ric Flair, Lex Luger. Lex Luger, he was just
the total package.
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, the Ultimate Warrior.
That's probably I think Ultimate Warrior was probably my favorite. Yeah.
I like the Ultimate Warrior and Sting with the face paint back in the day. That was big time stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, last 2.
Okay.
If Hollywood came in today and made a PCE movie, which actor would play the lead role of PCE?
Michael Scott. Or what's Michael Scott? What's Michael Scott's real name? It just slipped my mind.
His real name?
Yeah. I'm talking Office. Michael.
Yeah, I do.
Steve Carell.
There you go.
Gosh,
Yeah. I was going Jim Carrey, but I couldn't.
No. Steve Carell. I would say Steve Carell.
Yeah. All right. That's a good one. All right. Last question. If you knew that you were giving your final sermon, what would the topic be?
Man, that's a good question. And I think it's the same thing as if you were to ask, what's my life message? And I think it would be to finish strong.
Yeah.
Just finish strong. It's easy to start. It's a little harder to finish. And I want to finish strong. I'm 44, so I got some time to go. But whatever we're doing, I want to finish it strong. I just want to finish well. So I think that would be that message.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, hey, before we wrap, plug some Highlands summer activities.
Yeah. So summer's fun around here. So we're doing Summer Blast. So there's 4 or 5 really cool events happening in the summer. Summer Blast is first. That's our kids conference. It's totally free. We'll have hundreds of kids here at the church. That'll be the end of June. And then we'll do right after that. We'll do Serve Day on July 16th. It's where we go into the community, 1 full day of just pouring into people. That'll be a lot of fun. And of course, small groups launch this Sunday.
That's right.
Our summer semester is 6 weeks long, and we'll have lots of small groups to connect with. We were talking today about some cool small groups we're going to lead and just try to get around people. And the way we say it is just don't do life alone. Just don't do the summer alone. A lot of people are traveling, but not the whole summer. And I think you need good people in your life, in the summer. So we're doing that. So small groups, summer blast, serve day. And of course, we got some church conferences. Motion Conference, our big student conference, is unbelievable. All that's in July, and it's going to be amazing. All that's on the website.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Well, a lot of stuff going on. Thank you for the time. I know you've got a lot.
It's been fun.
Your schedule stays pretty busy, and this has been awesome spending time with you, and for folks getting a little bit more of an insider view of PCE and how you lead the church and your family and the things you're passionate about. So this has been awesome. We'll do it again too.
Let's do it.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
All right, guys, check them out. We'll have links to Pastor Chris's social on the video, and also, like Pastor Chris said, check out churchofthehighlands.com for everything we got going on in Highlands this summer as well. So thanks again, brother.
Yep. Thank you.